thanks for coming. I'm Austin Rosenfeld, and with me is Achal Augustine from Flowserve, and we are going to tell you about innovating for growth. So first we're going to tell you who we are, and then we're going to talk about the business problem, the solution, and some of the benefits we got from it. So who is Macedon Technologies? Well, it all starts with me, Austin. So I'm the founder. I was an Appian architect about 10 years ago, left to go run the BPM practice at a consulting company called Amentra, and then started Macedon in 2009 as an exclusive Appian services provider. Over the last 6 years, we've done work for about 50 clients, some of which I see in this room, and we've built over 75 systems. We've spanned a lot of verticals. We're based out of Reston, Virginia, about a mile from Appian headquarters, and we are opening a Dallas office this summer.
Okay, so I'm an IT manager from Flowserve. Flowserve is a Fortune 500 manufacturing company. We mostly manufacture industrial pumps, valves, and seals. I'm the technical lead for several Appian implementations at Flowserve. Been with Flowserve for about 6 years, and did 2 years of IT consulting before that, and I have a master's degree in computer science. So Flowserve, the picture there is an example of a Flowserve pump. We have about 18,000 employees over 50 different countries, and we manufacture a lot of equipment. And today, we would be speaking specifically about the pump aftermarket business, which is the services and solutions division of the company. So about $2 billion of the $5 billion revenue is from the aftermarket side of the business. So we use Appian to help manage the pump repair process flow. So that'll be our main focus for today. The problem at Flowserve is there are several problems. One of the problems was we grew through acquisitions and mergers. So we have a heritage of about 150 different companies coming together over the last 200 years. And most of the different business units that we acquired over the years continue to operate as independent business units. And as a result, they all reported up to the global headquarters in Dallas, but they didn't all follow the same standards. So each independent unit operated with their own local systems, Excel files, shared drives, and local processes, but we didn't have a global consolidated place. So that was our biggest challenge. If a customer of Flowserve like Shell or BP went to different locations at Flowserve services, they wouldn't get a consistent experience from Flowserve. On one location, they would get high quality services. Another location, they would get a lower quality of service, but they would end up paying different prices too. So it was creating a lot of customer unhappiness, and we had to solve that problem. The objective was to then create a global service center portal, which is to help manage the pump repair process globally. And that was our objective, and we used Appian to track the repair process from receiving a pump, disassembling it, cleaning it, inspecting it, and fixing the pump and shipping it back to the customer.
All right, a little bit of mood lighting. So
get us in the mood.
Here's the approach that Macedon and Flowserve took together to put together the system. All right, mood lighting experiment's over. So we're very agile. We did a lot of short sprints. And this wasn't just short sprints like we'll develop it, we'll show it to you, and then we'll do some more. We were literally pumping releases, you get it, out to the customer, to the end users on a monthly basis. And we were taking on end user groups in different locations each month that had some peculiarities and couldn't follow the standard process for one reason or another. So we were literally like taking changes in real time, getting them into the system, and getting new software out for this one specific user group 1 month at a time for 12 months. Very, very agile. We also had heavy business involvement. We had a really great business stakeholder named John Bowie, actually, who's in the audience and did this talk last year with Achal. And John's the product manager, has a great vision, could just see dozens of things he wanted to do with this system, and fortunately had the budget to implement them. So John was really instrumental in coming up with ideas and just being in all the brainstorming sessions, being back and forth with us. And it was really a great harmony between IT and business, where we were, getting new ideas coming in, getting implementations flowing out, and everything just worked really well throughout the entire year-long cycle. And finally, one of our principles was to always leverage the latest Appian feature set. Because Flowserve's running in the cloud, we were getting those upgrades every quarter when Appian puts out new features. So as Tempo got more mature, we were on that. As mobile got more mature, we were getting mobile use cases and mobile implementations in the hands of our users so that they could use their iPads on the shop floor. As Sail and the new data features became mainstream last year, we were switching the interface to be records-backed and to be literally surfacing information from different ERP systems in what we called on-the-glass integration, so that you're seeing a dashboard that's fed through multiple integration points on the back end, but to the user it looked like one consistent record. And last of all, we had a very distributed team. Achal mentioned Flowserve's headquartered in Dallas. Our business group was running out of Canada. We were doing most of the development in Reston. And of course, at one point, our lead developer actually got married and moved off to North Carolina, stayed with the team. And so we were completely distributed, but the cloud makes that actually very easy.
Okay, so here's a quick overview of the Flowserve pump repair process. This is highly simplified. There's a lot more to it. Some example pictures of different types of pumps, just to give you an idea of what a pump might look like. Some of those are really big, you can fill up an entire room, and some of them are really small. They just are used for gardening purposes. So the typical process is aftermarket business. We receive a pump. Sometimes we get a call from the customer saying the pump is down or the refinery needs immediate fix. The pump gets shipped to a Flowserve location. We receive it. We disassemble, clean, and inspect it, almost like taking a car to a mechanic. They have to look at it. Then we come up with a quotation on what needs to get replaced, what needs to get repaired. Unlike a car mechanic, where you don't really reconfigure your engine, or you always replace components, we have engineering teams who fine-tune the components of the engine itself. So it's more engineering than pure mechanical replacement activity. So, we give them a quotation, then the repair cycle goes through about 4 to 5 weeks, and in the end we ship the pump back to the customer. That's high-level overview. We'll get into more details later. Okay, so here's the old process, the old Zoolander guy. The same person had to deal with a lot of different systems. There was a local ERP system to do the finances. They had a parts system to get parts pricing. There's a separate system for shared drives for storing the Excel files, the quotation documents. Separate database for the install base, because the pumps ship from different BUs, some from Europe, some of them get shipped out of United States, but there's a global installation database that they had to look up. So basically, the same person had to look up in 4 or 5 different systems, use Excel files, traditional point-and-click cameras, scanners, to produce the final outcomes. It wasn't easy, it wasn't standardized because of the Excel and the Word options. Every site could operate slightly different from each other. Now, central repair history. So there was repair history at a particular repair shop. It's like going to Sears and them not knowing what happened to your car. We had a similar problem because the independent QRCs operated without any central repository. And if you could take the same pump for another repair to a different location in the Gulf Coast, and they wouldn't know what happened to the pump the previous time. So it was pretty bad. And there was no standardization. I think I already mentioned that. And that was a big problem. We had to address it, and that's why we looked towards Appian to solve that problem.
So in the new process, everything's streamlined. You can see this Zoolander character can use the system from a PC, a tablet, or a phone. Has a single interface, which is the Appian Service Center portal, and then behind the scenes, Appian is doing integrations from the cloud back into the network to talk to the diverse ERP systems, the database, etc. Ultimately, we can print out quotes that Appian itself generated. So very streamlined architecture diagram. We've got a single platform for all repair-related activities, and we've got standardization, right? Any repair center is going to generate a quote that not only is probably 10 times faster to generate, but looks exactly like the quote coming out of any other repair center. So that way marketing got to be involved in how the quote is branded, how the information is conveyed to the customer, and we saw some significant ROI from that consistency. And finally, of course, everything's tracked real time. So we have much better metrics on how things are going, and we've been able to do continuous improvements as we've learned things about the process, having seen people execute the automated version. Okay, so here are some key milestones. We started
With the project in 2012, the evaluation process, we reviewed a couple of BPM technologies, ended up choosing Appian. The first site went live in 2013, and since then we have been deploying one location almost every month. So if you look at the map, you can see it's about 11 different locations in North America, 7 or 8 locations in Europe, a couple of locations in the Middle East. The Taiwanese location is expected to go live in next month. So we have global presence of about 500 odd users, including sales and operations. And this is one of the few applications in the company where sales and operations have the same system to look at, and they can talk about the same on-time delivery metrics as opposed to having sales having their own CRM systems and operations living in the ERP world and both not communicating to each other. So this solution, I think, bridges the gap between sales and operations. If sales wants to know about the status of a particular job, they don't have to call somebody and depend on them to provide the status. They can actually log into the system, even using their mobile devices to see. We'll give you a demo towards the end of the presentation on the iPad. They can actually see the status of the job. Another big milestone is getting the repair history all in one place. The previous legacy system was around for 10 years, and we had about 3,000 entries in it. But the Appian system in the last 18 months already produced 5,000 entries. So we can see that the Appian solution is going to eclipse the other solution like by 10 times in pretty soon, a couple of years from now. We do have multiple other solutions. About 5 or 6 applications are on Appian now. Today we'll focus mainly on the pump repair process because that's the most complex one at the company and also the most revenue generating so far of the applications we have used. The invoice dispute management is also a key application. We use Appian to track disputes with our customers about delivery conditions and terms. And that's been launched in different locations, 5 locations in the States, 4 in Latin America, and 3 in EMEA. And it's a continuous deployment process as well, to just to make sure that everybody follows the same dispute management process.
So, system and network architecture. We've got a couple more Zoolander characters here, and they're using Appian in the cloud, which is basically just a website you go log into, and you can do it without VPNing in, you can do it from your phone, you can do it from your couch, from your home laptop, or at your desktop if you happen to be the kind of worker who's chained to your desk all day. Appian is talking through a VPN connection to the back-end systems. Active Directory we're using for credential information, and then BizTalk we're using as an enterprise service bus to front interactions with all of the legacy ERP systems, which of course the reason we have so many is, as Achal said, Flowserve was made up from a bunch of acquisitions, so each acquired company had its own ERP system, and that means that we actually have diverse integrations we need to do to get what's essentially the same data based on a bunch of characteristics of where the pump was originally sold and has been maintained and those sorts of things. So by providing a centralized interface with BizTalk as a layer, it makes Appian's job really easy to just grab that data and surface it.
Yeah, one last point on this slide. The Active Directory integration, it's a big deal, like single sign-on. People always think that is a nice-to-have functionality, but when users really complain about having to use different applications to do different things, what they really are complaining is about being able to remember all the different passwords that IT forces them to remember. So if we build a solution that always uses the same login, I don't think users would complain so much. Like, for example, on your iPhone, you have 25, 30 different apps. People don't complain about having so many apps, but in a corporate IT world, all I hear from our users is another application to do or remember. But what they're really complaining is the number of new passwords that, IT or departments force them to remember. And that's really hard. I've seen people with computers that stickers on the computers listing all their passwords. What's the point in having passwords in the first place, right? So I think getting Active Directory sync is really key. If you have to spend extra 3 weeks to get the project live, tell your business, tell your stakeholders that it's key to get the project successful, and it works. Once you get the LDAP sync worked out, it doesn't need any maintenance. It's pretty good solution. So at Flowserve, we have different types of users. Like any other company, we have a sales department, which is very agile, on mobile. They're always visiting customers or on the road. So they use mobile devices more than anything else. They look at quotations on their mobile phones. They approve them there. We have general managers who are also more active and moving around. They can use their iPads to approve the documents and participate in the process. We do have a lot of people who are typical desktop users. They sit behind a computer all day. They're working, preparing the documents, analyzing engineering details. So those users are still using desktop and they prefer that, and we're not trying to get them away from it. And so we are building Appian, since Appian is a good platform to build and deploy at every platform, it helps. So we can build for one platform basically and get all different kinds of use cases out of it. The executives usually care more about the graphs and the charts, and they also get the same output from Appian depending on their need. So benefits, I think I've touched upon this briefly already. This standardizes the global process to reduce cycle time in the quotation process. The access to data that sites used to not share is now available. For example, we have highly skilled design engineers in Chicago or in Etel or in Netherlands who would never collaborate before because they didn't have access to the same systems before. So if the same kind of repair happened in Chicago or in the Netherlands, there was no good way to communicate and share that knowledge. But now, since there's a common system, they can search by pump model or pump serial number and look across the globe and see if there's something similar that has been done. It's almost like the doctors researching other doctors, analysis and prescription. So it really helps spreading the knowledge across the company and bringing up the knowledge of the new employees. Definitely, it's more useful for the new employees because they get to learn a lot more. The older employees, of course, it's a new system that they have to use, and they already have a lot of knowledge. So it's definitely helping us bring up new employees up to speed. We can use the data now to identify what kind of products have the most issues and what type of issues do they usually have. And depending on those analysis, we are able to predict the run rate aftermarket business, what we should expect from a certain kind of pump model. So if we see that certain pumps are coming in at a certain duration, let's say 3 years of maintenance, we can expect the customers to come to us. If the customers don't come to us, we can proactively go to them and ask them, since it's been 3 years since the particular pump has been brought in for maintenance, maybe it's time to have another look. So it definitely helps us to be more proactive and finding an analysis on product reliability. Last but not the least, we get the historical data all together. It used to be spread in different locations. Now everything is all in one place.
So reporting. What you see here are some actual reports that the system produces. And as I mentioned before, these are Word documents that Flowserve Marketing has put together. They're using Flowserve's graphics, Flowserve's templates. We're able to dynamically stick images in. So those are pictures of the pump that were taken on the shop floor with an iPad that feed through Appian and then go into the quotation document that gets shipped out to the client. Again, with consistent formatting, consistent quoting, you're going to get the same boilerplate verbiage and the same dynamic data that's case-specific inserted in every time you generate this quote, regardless of which of the repair centers across the world generate it. And you're also going to get it much, much more quickly than in the old world where everything was done manually.
Okay, so here are some productivity gain numbers. Year 1 was a slow start, but as you can see, going from year 2 to 3, 4, we are saved already several thousand hours of person hours per year. The way we found out how much time was saved was using a good user survey. So we asked them, how much time did you save a particular process step before and after? That's always a difficult challenge in any new process improvement implementations, because before the solution, we didn't have people tracking time for individual steps. We knew the full cycle time, but not individual steps in the process. So we had to ask them, like, point blank, did you save 10 minutes or did you lose 10 minutes because of this project? And so we did the survey. People gave great feedback, and overall, this is the numbers that came out of the survey, showing that we have been saving a lot of hours for our employees, which means they can work on other productive stuff instead of waiting for information to get to them. We have plans to improve the productivity of our employees by implementing more features. So these are some of the features that we are planning to implement in the future. Some of them are already in the dev mode, almost ready to go live. Last month, the repair templates items already gone live. So some of the items listed here are already in action. So it's pretty good. There are some things that we can improve on to take advantage of the mobile features. So we are using iPads at our shop floor, but there are other places within the process flow where I think we can use it more and make a more advanced tracking of the process to make it more efficient.
So here's some of the benefits that we got out of mobile and cloud. Like I said, we've been trying to get the latest Appian features into the implementation as quickly as possible. We've got users in the field, sales engineers, who can start a request, right? They happen to be talking to a client. The client mentions that they've got a problem with a pump. The sales engineer can kick off a process right there from his phone. You've also got the ability to approve quotations from their devices, right? Again, anyone involved in the process can take those simple actions just with their thumb, can take them at an airport. You don't have to be chained to your desk, and you don't have a process that grinds to a halt if someone takes a 3-day weekend. We've got the ability to track and update repair status on the shop floor. Again, I mentioned they're actually taking the pictures with the iPad, and then they're part of the record for that case real time. And even voice and video. As far as the cloud goes, we're getting automatic upgrades, right? Every 3 months, Flowserve's on the latest version. We've had clients in the past who were on-premise and were maintaining their own Appian instances and would realize that they didn't have the resources to do the upgrades every quarter and would say, well, we'll just upgrade once a year. Well, when you upgrade once a year, you miss out on a huge gap worth of features, and then by the time you upgrade, you've got a lot of catch-up to do. At Flowserve, we've been very proactive, and as soon as you hear Matt talking about features, we're literally, well, the guys behind the scenes are putting those into the product today. Like, they're working with those latest updates. Obviously, lower maintenance costs, which has been the selling point of the cloud from day one, right? It's maintained by Appian, hosted by Appian. You don't have to have the back-end, Linux administrator guys doing the nerd work. And availability outside of the VPN, right? You don't have the situation where, because it's behind your firewall, if you want to get into it, you have to go through 5 hurdles on your PC, which would then prevent you from doing things like, I don't know, at the end of a weekend, maybe logging on to check a report. If you've got that report with the swipe of a thumb, you're much more likely to engage, and then you're much more likely to take action from that report. So you've got a much more engaged user base that has direct access to the system, essentially 24/7 if they want it.
Cool. Yeah, I would give another example. One of our engineering directors, he got into Appian recently, I think December, and he was super excited. I can be on my couch at home and I can see all the jobs. This is super cool. He used to, he works a lot, so he used to, go back home and log into his computer and do all this job. But since Appian got live, he was like, this is the best thing ever. I can be on my couch and, check on things. He's not actively working on things, but mostly reviewing work other people do. So he doesn't have to be 100% engaged. And there are many users who expect other applications to be available without the VPN. They're like, we can go to Appian without the VPN. Why can't we do it for others? So it's a big benefit just getting out of the VPN and the cloud private network.
Yeah. So here are a couple of screenshots. The font might be a little hard to see from even the front row, actually. But this is an actual task as it would be seen on the iPad, and then another one on a phone. Of course, we don't have a picture of the cloud because the cloud's intangible. So we have another iPhone, but it's white, which is the color of the cloud. As far as records in the news feed, we've got a single source of the truth, right? If the real record is kept in the ERP system, then that's what's being surfaced directly as you make the request to view the page. It's not like Appian's keeping a copy that could then be stale. When you say, I want to go view the dashboard for this case, you're actually seeing the data directly flow from the ERP systems up to the screen for you. And if you hit refresh, then you would get the updates right away. We're using all the latest record tagging and record facets so that you can drill from one record to another. You can get from a pump record to the record for the customer that owns that pump to then maybe do things like check whether they have any invoices that they're disputing or other pumps that are being repaired. So we've got everything cross-related, and this is the modern vision of the records-based system, right? Where you can take your world of records and just say, well, we want to just add a couple of actions that you can take off of this record. And it's not a complete, like, we need 6 months to do an IT system. It's, let's just do one agile sprint, we'll do 3 weeks, we'll add some value, and our capabilities got that much better, and we got some more power into the hands of a few users. And we've been just bolting these on, month after month for years now, and it's been working great. You can obviously also take action from each record. So you're on a record, you're looking at the data, and there are buttons you can hit to do something to it. And we'll see some screenshots where I can talk you through that in more detail. As far as the news feed goes, we're using this to get real-time updates, right? I always say my wife has about 1,000 Facebook friends, and somehow in 5 minutes a day, she can stay up to date on every single one of their lives. Well, business is like that too. You've got a bunch of events that you're tracking, right? A bunch of different deals in your pipeline, a bunch of different customers you need to interact with, a bunch of different cases that are open that various things could be happening on. And just seeing the event feed of everything that happens and having the ability to scroll through it on your thumb, you can get access to the high priority issues as they occur, and you can cover a much broader swath of the business in much less time. And we're seeing those benefits, both from the people on the shop floor with those iPads to the salespeople and executives behind the scenes who are just kind of monitoring progress from afar. We're also seeing collaboration that's faster than emails, right? If someone on the shop floor, again, takes that picture with their iPad, it immediately gets posted to the newsfeed, and anyone following that case sees, here's a picture of the fixed pump and what it looks like. And if someone notices maybe a quality issue or something that's not right in that picture, that's now been surfaced to people within the organization who can participate in the process, even though they wouldn't have been people that we would have scripted into the process when we were doing our initial analysis. So you can actually get tangible benefits where someone says, hey, I saw this event and I have something to contribute, even though it's not my department. So here's a screenshot of a record dashboard, and this is pretty standard for the systems that we build. So what you see at the top is some context information, right? You're seeing who the case is for, Dow Chemical, and which individual pump it's for. And you're seeing a progress bar, right? So in this view, we've got a 6-step progress bar that will get progressively greener as the case advances and the repair completes. And then you're seeing a bunch of just job header information, facts about the pump, technical details, those sorts of things that are targeted to whatever role this user happens to be in. If we go to the next screenshot,
engineering,
we're seeing a different view of the same case. So this is the engineering group's view, and you can see that they only see
3 steps.
They only see 3 steps in their progress bar, right? Whereas the other view had more granularity. So from the engineering view, it's either initialized, assigned, or completed. They don't care about how far it is into either one of those. They see an overlapping set of detail in the information at the bottom. But it could be exactly the same, it could be different, there could be things that are hidden, and they actually see a set of actions they can take up top. The buttons aren't very clear in this view, but you can launch a new aftermarket request, assign an engineer, or update status. And if you click on one of those, it will take you directly into a form where you can do something to this record. The set of actions that the previous user saw were actually different. If we can go back. So the Repair Center view can create an as-found report, create a customization, or update the job status, right? Those are actions that would be relevant to someone in that role. This is the news feed. Again, we're seeing the inline view that looks just like Facebook, where when something happens, you get a picture in real time. Okay. And we've got 5 minutes for a product demo.
4? Okay, let's try
4 minutes. Which we should probably make 2 minutes a demo and 2 minutes a Q&A.
While he's setting that up, people are asking a lot of questions online on the app, which is good. And
cool.
You guys can now respond by live as well.
Okay, great.
Let me try if this actually shows up. I'm in trouble with the browser. No?
Better. There we go.
Apparently the iPad works better than the computer. So here is a look at the live system. So I have multiple accounts set up. I'm connected to the live one here. These are a report created by Stephen Tate, like Wednesday, 7:46 a.m. This is a real life event. A pump showed up at Flowserve. He created a report. You can actually click onto the report and see the details. Probably won't work on the iPad because of the MSGH format. But let me go. Oh, it shows the content of the record, different status. The DCI has been completed, disassemble completed, inspection is complete, the parts are not ordered yet. That's the status of that particular repair. So if you are a general manager and if you want to look at different jobs that are coming into your shop, you can click through each one of them, see that this pump has also been taken pictures of, and you can swipe through the pictures. It's really easy to collaborate if everybody involved in the process have access to these devices, which most people do. So the salesperson at a customer location can, in fact, actually start showing the customer what Flowserve has been looking at, the engineering details or the changes that they recommend that they should go through to make the pump get back in the original shape. So that's a quick overview. I was planning to show more stuff on the desktop computer, but there are some technical difficulties. But it's the same things.
So, any questions?
Just one question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what is the size of the team which worked on all of these projects? Technology as well as process.
On the Flowserve side, we have, initially we had 2 people. John Bui sitting down there and myself. We started the project. Then eventually we had the 3rd person involved to cover North America. We started the Europe deployments this year. We had 2 people there. So total within Flowserve about 5 people. That's including people who are designing the processes, training the users, deploying the solution at different locations. So they're not really heavily into programming at all. They're process engineers, etc. That's the Flowserve size, 5 people.
And on the technical side, I would say we bounce between about 2 people and 4 people, just depending on scope in any given month or quarter.
It's a pretty small team to keep.
Yeah, in the back.
What kind of setup do you have for your product management? Like in terms of speed, your experience?
So with the overall setup for cloud connectivity and issues.
We had a couple of VPN issues in the beginning. Once we got that sorted out for the last, I would say, 12, 13 months, we didn't have any single outage on the VPN. As far as the speed, it's not as fast as an MPLS, but we have done comparative studies between MySQL database and MS SQL, which is through the VPN. There wasn't significant benefit in not using the VPN. I would say it's very comparable with having on-site connection database.
Is this using 7.9 now?
No.
7.8.
7.8.
They'll be upgraded in a couple weeks.
Okay, and that's why I'm asking.
Couple days.
7.9 is supposed to be dealing with some of the speed issues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Literally that tempo interface, whereas you have lots of data.
Yeah, I would say we are pushing the limits of the system.
Yeah.
With 7.8, it is a little slower at certain places, but we are going to upgrade to 7.9 soon. We are on 7.8.
I may try to ask a question online to follow up on that, but it really is improving the speed.
I've seen the evaluation version of it, and it's good.
Yeah, we actually benchmarked it last week.
Did
Yeah.
you show results?
Yeah.
We are out of time. Thanks a lot, guys. That was a great presentation.
Great.
20-minute break, and then we're back on track session for 2.
Yeah, we are here for the break time. If you want to come up, ask questions. Thank you.